Mitchell says the spread of teen violence cases is being fueled by sharing violent content on social media. She claims teens are taking out their phones to record these fights and other violent situations. They then post them online without ever reporting it to police. Mitchell says cases submitted to police for first-degree murder involving juveniles surged by 350% from 2022 to 23. There were 6 cases in 2022. That rose to 27 cases the next year. Aggravated assaults among teenagers also rose in that time frame. So today, Mitchell announced this new initiative alongside 13 Valley police departments. They call it Report, Don't Repost.
So the chiefs and sheriff that are joining me today can attest to you as well that this is happening in their cities. There's also a trend that we've noticed among teenagers, and I know you have too, that we need to pay attention to, and that is the posting of videos of violence on social media, and combined with the lack of reporting the crimes to police.
And the crimes she's talking about include homicide, robbery, aggravated assault, and some other serious offenses. The county attorney also says by sharing these videos for thousands, if not millions of people to see online really harms the victims and their families, which can make the trauma from these situations even worse. Now, overall, juveniles being charged as adults increased by 32% in that time frame as well. So Mitchell wants people to focus on reporting the crimes, again, not posting them. And she hopes this message will help make kids and parents more aware and reduce how much violent crime is happening among those teenagers. Reporting live in the newsroom tonight, I'm Michael Raimondi for Arizona's Family.